In the digital age, your computer is a witness. Every file opened, every program run, and every connection made leaves a ghost in the machine. But for years, these ghosts were only visible to the elite, the high-level forensic investigators with expensive tools. Hi, I'm Ghassan Elsman, the creator of CrowEye. I've spent years navigating the complexities of Windows forensics, and I realized that the truth of what happens on a computer is often buried under layers of data that only experts can see. I built CrowEye with a radical mission: forensics for everyone. I wanted to create an engine that is powerful enough for elite investigators, yet simple enough for anyone to understand their own digital footprint. I'm making this video to introduce you to the core of CrowEye, how it thinks, how it correlates data, and most importantly, what we are planning for the future. From AI-driven assistance to deep-dive binary education, we aren't just building a tool. We are building a new era of digital transparency. Let's dive into the engine. CrowEye is an open-source Windows forensic engine designed to collect and parse the most critical system artifacts with just one click. It automatically processes everything from prefetch, registry hives, and event logs to complex artifacts like Amcache, Shimcache, shellbags, the master file table, and the USN journal. I wanted CrowEye to be fast and intuitive enough for incident responders to use in the heat of a crisis. However, we soon realized that even with a powerful search engine, manually hunting for the most urgent evidence is like finding a needle in a haystack. To get real answers quickly, you can't just search manually. That is exactly why we built the correlation engine. Building the parsers for CrowEye was a massive technical challenge. It required deep reverse engineering and handling artifacts that have almost no public documentation. I found that most forensic guides only teach you which buttons to press, but they never explain the actual anatomy of the artifact. But parsers were just the beginning. I realized that to truly help investigators, I needed something more, and that's when the correlation engine was born. I wanted to create a system flexible enough to ingest data from any parser, allowing investigators to stop hunting for data and start focusing on the most robust evidence. I wanted it to be ready to run out of the box, without endless configuration. The architecture of the engine stands on three pillars: feathers, wings, and the engine itself. First are the feathers. They are our data normalization layer. A feather takes the output from almost any tool, JSON, CSV, or a SQLite database, and runs it through a transformer. This standardizes the field names. These feathers contain the metadata and the structured schema that the rest of the system needs to stay synchronized. Next are the wings. These are the brains of the operation. Wings are JSON-based rules that tell the engine exactly what data to link and from which feathers. They define the logic, specifying if we need multiple pieces of evidence for a match and how different artifacts should relate to one another. That is why we created the double engine strategy, a dedicated time engine and an identity engine. The time window scanning engine is built for systematic temporal analysis. It works by setting fixed time windows. By default, this window is set to 180 minutes, 3 hours. While 3 hours sounds massive, the engine uses an optimization called empty window skipping. It scans the timeline and instantly jumps over periods of inactivity, focusing only on the moments where the ghosts are active. This allows us to process millions of records with O(n) log n efficiency. Parallel to this is the identity-based engine. The true intelligence of this engine lies in its ability to see a single story across different names and paths. It is smart enough to handle real-world variations, recognizing that entries like Brave and 567 Brav E231 are actually the same browser activity. It looks past the surface name to track the entire lifecycle of an entity. I wanted the investigator to be able to tell the engine which artifacts they trust most. You can assign a specific weight to every individual feather. For example, you might weight a prefetch feather higher than a resendox feather, because it provides stronger proof of execution. When the engine identifies an activity, it calculates an identity score. It compounds the scores of every piece of evidence associated with that identity. This results in a final confidence rating and a human-readable interpretation, allowing the investigator to see at a glance which correlations are solid smoking guns and which are merely supporting evidence. This is where the theory of semantic mapping comes in. In forensics, timestamp in an event log and a last run, time in a prefetch file are technically different, but semantically, they are both evidence of activity. Our semantic mapping layer acts as a translator. It works for the investigator. It empowers the human being behind the screen. We allow you to instantly see the connections. Through customizable semantic rules, the investigator provides the intelligence using an and/or logic to hunt for specific indicators of compromise, IOCS. The human defines the logic, the human sets the conditions, and the engine simply executes that vision. This level of control is managed by our integrated configuration system. We follow one absolute rule. The more specific the instruction, the higher the priority configuration flows from the case level, down to the pipeline, and finally, to the wing. If a setting in your pipeline contradicts a setting in your wing, the system will always prioritize the wing. This allows you to inherit global semantic rules from the case, while adding specialized local rules to a wing to catch a specific threat. CrowEye comes with default semantic. They are designed to get you started immediately, but they are not yet perfect. You may encounter false positives as we continue to harden the logic. Today, while it's still evolving, the engine is functional, smart, and useful. Most importantly, it is a project I am deeply proud of. This is also why we are launching iDescribe and iDescribe Anatomy. iDescribe will take you behind the curtain to explain exactly how our parsers work. It will help you understand which data can be fully trusted and where the forensic nuances lie. But the heart of our research is iDescribe Anatomy. In this series, we will visualize everything we know about Windows artifacts, and just as importantly, everything we don't know yet. By documenting the structures we are still trying to fully decode, we are providing the next generation of researchers and developers with the resources they need. Our goal is to ensure that anyone who comes after us has the foundation to either advance CrowEye or build their own revolutionary tools. We are sharing the blueprint, so the community can grow together. We cannot ignore the power of artificial intelligence. In this field, anyone who turns their back on AI will be left behind. It is an incredibly powerful tool, and that is why we are building the Eye, your personal forensic assistant. The vision is simple. After the parsing is complete, you will have the ability to ask any question, and the assistant will analyze the data to give you an immediate answer. This is a massive undertaking that will take a lot of work. As an early prototype, we are starting with the integration of AI CLI agents. We are developing detailed configuration files designed to make these agents forensics aware. We aren't just giving them data. We are teaching them the nuances of forensic artifacts and the specific rules of how to handle and interpret them. We are making the machine understand the evidence so you can focus on the truth. Currently, we have functional parsers, a robust search engine, and a production-ready correlation engine. But we aren't finished. Our timeline visualization is still in the prototype stage, and we currently lack native support for offline artifact parsing and forensic images. That is why our immediate focus is on building a dedicated offline parser and implementing support for ISO images. Once those foundations are solid, we will return to perfecting the timeline visualization and further enhancing our live parsers and the correlation engine. It sounds like a lot, doesn't it? And to be honest, the challenge is even greater. For most of this journey, I have been the only one building this. I know it's hard to hear, but I want you to see the reality behind CrowEye. I built this alone. I believe in this project so deeply that I left my job to focus on CrowEye full-time. This is my mission, and I am the one providing for its future. I know some might worry that a one-person project could disappear in a few months. But CrowEye has been an active project for 2 years. It started as a passion, and now it is my full-time commitment. And even better, I'm no longer completely alone. There are now a few dedicated folks actively helping with the development. I am currently seeking funding to grow the team and accelerate our roadmap. I'm incredibly grateful whenever someone helps, whether it's by asking questions, reporting bugs, or writing code. Building the future of forensics as an independent developer is hard, but don't worry. We will survive. CrowEye is here to stay. See you in the timeline.